Breaking news. An unidentified object heading towards Earth was detected by Star Labs.
Look! Up in the sky!
Why are you here?
Why are you here, Kryptonian?
Lois, and you are?
I'm Clark Kent. This planet is protected, alien.
It's whooping time!
I thought Martians only existed in the movies.
Those movies are terrible.
Hey everybody, I'm Matt Bomer from DC's Doom Patrol and Superman Unbound. I'm so excited that I've been asked to moderate this panel today for Superman, Man of Tomorrow, starring my friend and former on-screen sibling, the incredible Darren Criss as the Man of Steel, surrounded by an incredible cast, some of whom are here with us today, and of course, the brilliant creatives as well. Now, you've just seen the trailer for the latest DC Universe movie, and now we're going to take a deep dive into the making of this all-new animated film from Warner Brothers Animation, DC, and Warner Brothers Home Entertainment. Superman, Man of Tomorrow, available now on digital and then on 4K Ultra HD Combo Pack, Blu-ray Combo Pack, and DVD starting September 8th. Now, let's introduce everybody. We have the writer of the Warner Brothers animation film Reign of the Supermen, and now back for another round with the Man of Steel, screenwriter Tim Sheridan.
Hey, how's it going?
All right. Making his DC Universe movies directorial debut after notable work series directing on Voltron, Legendary Defender, and storyboarding Young Justice and Justice League versus Teen Titans, Chris Palmer.
Hello.
Ooh. Supervising producer Butch Lukic has a rich pedigree in DC animated productions, serving as producer on Constantine, City of Demons, Justice League Action, and the Batman Unlimited franchise, as well as directing episodes of Justice League, Batman Beyond, and Beware the Batman. Butch Lukic.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. A distinct voice in animation and video games, including Mass Effect 3, and this year's smash animated hit, Mortal Kombat Legends, Scorpion's Revenge, the voice of Martian Manhunter, E.K. Amadi.
Get over here.
Get over here. Nice. Now, he's been playing for the other guys for years, starring in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but we've got him now as the voice of Rudy and Parasite, Brett Dalton.
Yeah.
Nice. Myself. You're going to add the big applause later. Yes, thank you.
And an Emmy and Golden Globe Award-winning actor. You know him well from Glee, American Crime Story, The Assassination of Gianni Versace, and the recent miniseries Hollywood, star of stage, screen, and music, the voice of Clark Kent in Superman, which makes sense because he's the closest thing to Superman that I've encountered, my friend, the incredible Darren Criss.
Yay.
You got to meet more people, Matt. That can't be true.
First of all, guys, congratulations. The movie is fantastic. We watched it. My kids watched it, and one of them is a big-time DC aficionado, and they all gave it the seal of approval. They loved it. So congratulations, and thank you for being with us today. We're going to get right to some questions. I'm going to start with the filmmakers, Butch, Chris, and Tim. It seems like there might be a few inspirations in the DC library for this film. What was the genesis of this story?
Well, originally, me, Tim, and Jim Krieg were working out ideas as far as from American Alien. We wanted to take pieces from, we were looking at Man of Tomorrow, was it? Not Man of Tomorrow, Man for All Seasons. But we didn't really find anything there. But we did take elements out of American Alien, a few things like Parasite, Superman's pre-Superman costume, and especially I wanted Lobo in it. And then the rest, Tim pretty much figured out the rest of the storyline and how it should all be put together. Tim?
Yeah, we started talking about it, and the first thing, Butch wanted to sort of establish was where in the Superman, the life of Superman, this movie was going to take place. And once we kind of figured out when this happens, it meant that there was a lot of rich material throughout the DC universe that we could sort of draw upon for those years of Clark's life. So we looked at that. We looked at Superman Birthright was a big inspiration for us as well. It was sort of, I remember the biggest directive, Butch, I don't know if you remember this, the very biggest directive in the beginning that you gave us was that it was to be a little bit smaller in terms of more character, more like the Richard Donner movie that we remember from the 70s, and to sort of be able to see Superman, rise out of those, those kind of character interactions. That was where we kind of started from. That's why we set it here.
No, I think I wanted it to feel a little bit more like an independent film, since we're not on a huge budget, but let's try to make it feel like it's an independent style film. It's not overly large like a Marvel movie. So within the perimeters we had, it was more about character than anything else. Yeah.
It's so easy when you're doing a superhero thing and you're doing something with Superman to sort of, upscale the circumstances to sort of match how powerful and how big of a character Superman is. But I think you really see who he is in a movie that is focused on character, and so that was kind of what we went into it thinking.
Yeah. Also, a lot out there they're thinking it's an origin story, and it really isn't. We basically just start out. He's a kid, but we don't linger there too long. We get right.
We thought
he's an adult.
We thought kind of like this is sort of Act 2, right? It was like Act 1 was Smallville. This is sort of the beginning of Act 2 for Superman. And then, lots of great writers have explored Act 3, and, maybe someday we'll do something like that.
Chris, you want to add anything?
Yeah, I think just that small moment in the beginning, seeing young Clark it does set the tone, like Tim was saying, and what Butch wanted of that real character story. Even though we're there briefly, it definitely gives that smack target that this is a Clark story.
Well, I think you were successful on all those fronts, if I do say so myself. Tim, you may feel like you already answered this, but what specific themes did you want to explore, and how will fans see those play out?
Well, the biggest thing is, I sat down and I thought, knowing the kind of movie, Butch and Jim and I were talking about making, and Chris, that, I thought, well, what can I bring to this, as a writer? And I think for me, the thing that's most interesting about Superman isn't necessarily how he affects us in the world, but how the world affects him. And I think there's a lot of ground to cover in terms of his character and who he is, by sort of seeing how he grows into this world. Now, so we set it at a time when he's in his early 20s, right? And I think about that time in my life and going out on my own, you kind of playing at being a grown-up during that time, and the surprise comes like later. You realize, oh no, this is what being a grown-up is. And I think even for somebody like Clark, to see him go through that was really important for me. I think we sometimes can hold these heroes up on a pedestal, but he's the best of us. Which means he's gone through the same kind of things that the rest of us have gone through. And I wanted to see a little bit of that myself. Happily, Butch wanted to too. So this is really about identity. It's about discovering your identity, what you do today that will make you the man you're going to be tomorrow. If Superman's about truth and justice, I think there's a lot about truth in this, and truth to oneself, and that being, sort of the highest calling, for Clark.
Fantastic. Well, Butch and Chris, the art direction and character design is a definite departure from the 40 films produced by Bruce Timm and James Tucker. How would you describe the graphic sensibility employed by this film, and what were the challenges to accomplish what you sought to achieve?
Well, I mean, I was given by Sam Ritz, he told me he wanted to do something different than the previous DC universe. So I felt the opposite, anime style, that's practically what they were doing, which is a dead line look. It's always the same line around the figures. And I figured the opposite of that is, well, go to thicker lines and thick and thin, which is more akin to comic book style. Now, the issue there is, can you animate that? But with things that we've seen over the last few years, especially Chris has shown me stuff that we could, use elements of flash animation and other things instead of just traditional to achieve that. So that's why we went for that style. And I found an artist, Otto Schmidt, who's a great comic book artist, and he does a lot of stuff online too, if you want to check his stuff out. But I saw his style and the look and his sense of design, and I felt we can animate that. And then we gave it to the studios overseas, and that's where we found out, they kind of don't get this style. So we were kind of working with them to figure out, okay, where can we get this style to where we want it and to where it works for you? So it kind of adapted as we went along. But also, Chris and I were looking at stuff where we wanted the broken line look on some of the drawings. So it looks like it's drawn instead of the stuff that's kind of, and I love the stuff that was done in the last 10 years too. But because we have to do something different, I was trying to go back to something more traditional with more of a look that it was hand drawn. So that's kind of where we went with it. Right, Chris?
Yeah. And even in the backgrounds in the world of Metropolis, it was neat seeing kind of, Butch had this overall vision and in looking at that like futuristic world of Metropolis too. It's like it feels very now, but it also has any of the characters feel like they're in the present, but you see little blips and pieces of them that you're like, okay, that's a few years out, and it helps to be between characters and that environment. It gives this overall feel of tomorrow.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, I got a fan question for Butch and Chris and Tim. This is from Jocelyn in Quebec. What was the thought process behind using Lobo and Parasite as the villains in this film?
Well, again, I mean, I really like that one scene in American Alien where Superman finally becomes Superman, which we kind of don't do here. It's an early event where he meets Lobo for the first time, but I love that whole sequence where Lobo just shows up and Superman's never actually seen another alien before, so that's where the interaction comes from, and that's kind of what, it leads into what this story is all about. Chris?
Yeah, there's a moment in the film where I know Lobo has that it's a line, and I'm going to butcher it, but it's that Clark's asking him, alien, and Lobo's kind of like, do you have a mirror, or is there mirrors in Kansas? Like, you're as alien as they get, and it's just it's a neat thing for the different characters, who Earth is not their first home, to be bouncing off of each other and what they think about it and what the other characters think about it, and seeing each other.
Yeah, and it's Tim. As far as Parasite, again, you kind of adapted that a little bit from American Alien, but you made it your own version. So,
yeah, I mean, it's I think those characters are in the American Alien story, but I think we see Parasite and Lobo a lot in Superman stories. And there's a reason for that. And there's a real practical reason, which is that when you have somebody as powerful as Superman, a villain like Parasite, whose power is to, drain the power of whoever he's fighting, can be a really sort of efficient character to have, and it's sort of a good sort of counterpoint to your really powerful character. But I think also Lobo, in a way, is kind of an emotional equivalent of that. And I think that's why we see him so much in sort of Superman stories. Lobo is like, he's kind of the man of yesterday. He's this awful, boorish, misogynist, terrible being. And I think to see him do Lobo sets up, the idea that Kal-El is somebody different and can be somebody different and represents a hope, for the man of tomorrow. I think that's why we see those characters in so much of the mythology of Superman. And that was the stuff I was thinking about when we were scripting this.
That Parasite character sounds really cool. So let's wrap it up.
Yeah, I'll follow up Jocelyn's question with, there are some invincible heavyweights battling it out. What are the challenges of choreographing battles that measure up to the titans who are fighting?
Yeah, again, I mean, because these are superpowered heroes, you can't just throw someone across the room and that's it. You have to throw them through about 5 buildings. And then you got to stretch that. And you're going, the fight's ultimately stretched out to miles of a fight. Now that logistically for us in animation requires, now you have to draw all those backgrounds. You have to draw all those pans. You have to, keep things moving. So it's a lot of, mayhem and destruction and a lot of drawing time.
Yeah. You think about, I remember we had conversations early on where, okay, we're going to see these guys fighting, but how much is on the ground versus how much in the air? Because every time you're in the air and the camera's facing down, you have to draw and paint all those buildings, all that landscape. Wow. So there's practical things there too.
But as a director, he's figuring out shots that you can get away with where you don't have to show that all the time. So we're shooting from either close-ups or above and things like that.
Yeah, the storyboard artist, the story team was great with that.
If I may, I think that the fights in this are beautiful. But what's so great is that the real challenge that Clark comes up against is something that's not even sort of involved in those fights, and that's why when you have somebody like Darren Criss playing Superman, you get to land all of that stuff that isn't just punches. It's all the emotional punches as well.
Yeah, I think everyone doing all the acting was excellent, and that's kind of what this film really hinges on. Those small scenes between,
I can't believe how lucky we got with this cast. These are people at the top of their game.
You all did a fantastic job. The fight sequences in this film, without giving too much away, are epic. Let's take a look at a part of the fight between Superman and Lobo.
You sure you're from Krypton?
I'm from Kansas.
Well, something about Kansas made you strong. Weird strong. I like it.
Darren, my friend, how are you? It's so good to see you. You had a head start coming into this project, didn't you, with an encyclopedic mind for comic books? As an avid comic book reader, what's it like to step into a role like this for you?
I wouldn't say that. I've definitely been a big fan of a lot of the work that Butch, Tim, and Chris have done. Unbeknownst to them, I am sort of prime demographic, especially the animated things that Warner Brothers and DC has been putting out has always been really cool I guess ever since I was a kid, almost a more present education of the DC canon, more so than the comic books themselves. And while inevitably they always do go back to comic books, I would always go to them after the fact. Like I would watch however much stuff, and then somebody would say, oh, that's actually based on this comic. Then I would check it out and be like, I prefer, Tim Daly doing it. Which brings me to, as a voiceover and animation fan in general, it's very odd for me because I've watched pieces of this where I'm just like, I want Superman to shut up because I'm like, this guy's voice sucks. I hate this guy's voice. Who is this guy? And I realize it's mine because I'm so my experiences with Superman is calibrated to all the greats that have done it before. Again, Tim and Nolan North. I don't know if there's anybody else who's ever done it, Matt, who has ever given any cool stuff to Superman. If people watching this don't know, Matt Bomer voiced him. My friend James Wolk. A lot of people have done Superman. So I always hear that. And when this came up for me as an actor, I was like, hell yeah. But as a fan, I was like, don't get my voice on it. Get somebody get somebody real on it. But when I realized that it was a much more sort of younger story, I understood what they were trying to do because, the vocal quality that I thought I could bring to the table just didn't really line up to my kind of more, as Tim mentioned, more the third, fourth act of Superman, the Man of Steel voice. And there's a sort of youthful tentativeness to him, especially that the story is more kind of about Clark and him figuring out what Superman means and not the other way around, that I kind of went, okay, I'll do my best. So without more self-deprecating than I've already done, of course, it's an honor. I mean, it's, Superman is bigger than all of us, just as a ubiquitous cultural symbol, that anything that I can do to bring anything to the table is a privilege, and I hope I didn't screw it up too much for all the fans who are far more discerning than I am.
Oh, you have
actually.
I'm
glad gallery go.
I think it's a testament to how talented you are that I know you well, and I forgot that I was listening to you, shortly into the movie, as well as Zachary Quinto, who's also a good friend of mine. You guys were both fantastic. Of
course, Zach, yeah.
Speaking of fantastic work, Brett, you're amazing as well in this. And as opposed to the other members of the cast, Rudy and Parasite, I should say, have not had much screen time in past production. So what was it that informed your way of bringing this character to life?
Yeah, well, originally it was pitched as Parasite, Man of Tomorrow. And so I thought this was going to be, a movie about me. They changed it a little bit to feature this, I guess like a little character in the DC universe called Superman. So that's fine. But I think what I like most about Parasite, though, this whole journey that he takes in this film, is that you don't care about a superhuman unless you see the human in the superhuman. And I think that's what they did a really good job of. You get to see that this is a real person before he's just a, power-hungry monster bent on destruction and absorbing all of the power that he possibly can.
I have to say, Parasite's always been one of my favorite characters in the Superman world, simply because of the dichotomy that exists between Rudy and Parasite. And unlike Lobo or Brainiac, like there's no inherent infrastructure of us sympathizing anything. There's no like, oh yes, Brainiac really had it rough on the playground, in his home worlds, or there's no, or Lobo. These are just like pure evil or pure whatever. There's sort of like a concreteness to their antagonism.
Yeah, there's no before and after.
There's no before and after. Yeah. Whereas Parasite inherently it comes out of a guy who has a lot of things that we sympathize with and could be you if there's a sort of everyman quality to him that because there's a duality to him and there's a duality to Clark and Kal-El and Superman, Triumvirate I should say. There's just more than one person at play here, and so I just like putting that in there that I always dug and felt really bad for Rudy and the plight of Parasite's sort of existence in Superman's world. So, hey, Brett, well done.
No, thank you.
Very well done. And here's a taste of Brett as Rudy before he becomes Parasite.
That's nothing.
I've seen stuff in there. Experiments. Bizarre weapons. Containment cells. All designed to neutralize the kind of weird powers you read about these days. Super speed, strength, all that alien stuff. It's like we're preparing for something. Ask me. I'd say somebody already knows we're not alone in the universe.
Can you get me inside?
Hell of a scoop, huh? But no, I gotta work. McKaylee's in first grade. We got another on the way. If my name came out,
I protect my people.
I think you're the one that might need protecting. 2 tours in Iraq. I know a shadow when I see it. Someone's interested in you, kid. I'd watch your back.
Okay, well, EK, I have to say your Martian accent is flawless. You nailed it. You were fantastic in the movie. Now, Martian Manhunter has been portrayed in many ways with a variety of voices and dialects. How did you and the filmmakers choose this direction?
I think for me, you know, I've always been like Darren. I'm a huge Superman fan. It's been a long time of not only the comic books, but the previous DC stuff. I love who he is as a character. And so Martian Manhunter for me kind of falls in that same line. He's not, he's a good character and a good man, not because he's like, you know, just some harmless alien, but because he is so dangerous. Compared to a lot of the rest of the characters, he has all these powers and all these abilities, but he does such a great job of keeping them in check and keeping who he is in check. The other side of it is that, like him, I'm not American, I'm Nigerian. And so I spent the first, 10 years of my time in this country kind of hiding in the shadows like him, waiting to find somebody who was going to kind of understand where I was coming from and that I could actually connect to. So that was kind of the perspective that I came at, to aliens kind of figuring it out, if that makes sense.
Right, and you know,
an amazing job.
You being Nigerian, that definitely is true. You know, that first 10 years, anyone comes here from another country, I did also. You just don't feel like you belong. It takes a while, you know, even though everyone speaks English and everything. It's just a weird thing. You start settling into it.
Yeah.
Like yours, maybe it takes 8 to 10 years normally. So, yeah.
It's such a part of the DNA of this movie, too. We've got 3 characters represented, you know, in Lobo and Superman and Manhunter, who are the last of their people, who are all, you know, essentially who've emigrated, and so there's, it's just part of it's part of the structure of the thing. And I have to say, I'm getting chills right now listening to EK talk. Because it's taking me right back to the movie right now. I just that voice is that is just Martian Manhunter all the way for me.
Done and done.
Yeah, dude, agreed. I was looking at that like, who is this guy? Like, who is this guy? And then I looked you up and I saw all of the amazing voiceover work you've done. And obviously, we see you're sitting in the studio there, but. My God, I mean, that was really a good performance. I was happy to be on this call because I get to like tell everybody what a great job they did. It's awesome.
I feel the same way. I'm blown away. Like when I look at I got to see some of the scenes. Everything fits together so well, and the performances just ground the characters so well. And to me, you know, just as a fan, that makes such a difference. Such a difference.
You said something interesting, Butch, about treating this like an independent movie. And sort of treating these characters with more of, an indie kind of, well, not indie, but I guess more, character-centric touch. And at the end of the day, that's what has made these characters persevere for, you know, as long as they have, the several decades, and sort of there's a staying power to them. And not to say that I don't love the action stuff. I won't say I was surprised if I didn't expect it, but it's a joy reading through this and going, oh, cool, they're getting into some of this stuff. This is really nice.
I think it's also surprising to see that in like a cartoon as well. Like you think of animation, you think of, oh, this is an incredible excuse to we can do things that we couldn't film. We can have instead of CGI, we can draw whatever we want. We can go wherever we want. For me, it was surprising that it could get so intimate, and that you found yourself like really caring about drawings on a page. I mean, obviously you're putting so much on it, but for an animated thing to take the directions that it took and to leave space for those really smaller, quieter moments, I was really surprised.
Brett,
Yeah.
you were surprised.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe what Butch was letting me get away with. I came out of the theater, and all I ever want to write is, two people in a room coming to terms with things. And,
come on, man.
Yeah, you see a little bit of that every now and then in the movie.
All right, but we talked about that. We do even when you guys were in the recording booth, we were discussing, look, we don't want to treat this like it's a cartoon. Treat it like you're playing live action. So that's what you guys did, and that's what we bounced off of when we did the designs or the boards. But it was also with me and Chris and Tim also, and Jim. We all had it in our minds, we're going to do something that's cinematic. But it doesn't have to be full-blown cinematic, because there's a lot of these, good portion of this film is people interaction and people just talking to each other. And those scenes are the ones I love. And it's even scenes, what we did way back in the BTAS days, that you remember more than just Batman beating the crap out of someone,
Yeah, if there's like strength and warmth to all these characters, which Darren, Brett, EK brought, like, there's 100% strength to these characters, but like there's 150% warmth there. And like the moments that I remember, and what Tim said about writing characters just talking to each other, like I can remember the moments where you have Clark and Rudy talking over coffee in that moment, and you have John, Manhunter, and Clark talking over tea later on, actually. I hope that's not giving too much away of the big scenes, but those are the moments I remember, and that you do watch those and you're like, oh, I haven't seen this before, or if this has been in something else, it's nice to see this again, because we don't see this often.
And by the way, it's not just Darren and Brett and EK, because I think the whole cast is just incredible. But
so good.
You do a Superman movie, you got to make sure you get Lois right. And Alexandra Daddario is just phenomenal. I can't believe she's in this movie, and she just sets a new standard, I think.
Yeah, and also I think because the scenes were so powerful with the actors and doing the dialogue with the, just interacting, I didn't feel we needed music in those sequences. So I dropped or just decided, you know what? The scenes are good enough without music. You don't need the music to help the emotion. The emotion's there. So mostly the music is held in within action sequences.
Well, I have to say, as an audience, I was invested in and I cared about all of the characters in this piece. EK, I could frankly listen to your voice all day long. And if you have not recorded one of those meditation apps, please do, because I feel like if you did, I would just drop right in.
I'm working
as Martian Manhunter, though. As Martian Manhunter, coming to Earth and giving us a peace of mind in these troubling times.
To drop some knowledge.
Yes.
That's dangerous, though. That's dangerous, because I don't think Martian Manhunter gives the best advice in this movie necessarily.
That's not what I heard. Whatever he was saying, I was like, whatever this guy says.
Yes.
Well, let's take a look at a clip between the first meeting of Superman and Martian Manhunter.
Unless you want to show us some credentials, I think we're done here. Martha, get behind me.
I'm sorry.
Sorry for what?
Jonathan? What's happening? What are you doing to him?
Get inside, lock the doors. another bounty hunter?
I am no bounty hunter. My name is John, and I only wish to speak with you.
Were you prepared though for all the reaction and the grunts and the fight sequence things you had to jump in and do? And did you physicalize it as well, or did you just try to vocalize? What was your process like in the booth for that?
Yeah, I definitely get physical. I'm always afraid that I'm going to hit the mic stand or the mic over. But I did a few seasons as a Transformer, and I've done some Ninja Turtle stuff. And so any characters I've ever voiced are usually kicking and punching and flying and getting knocked all over the place. So I've had a bit of a I've been through that gym a few times. So it's just, you know, obviously fun to do it as the Man of Steel. And I just hope that I don't sound too wimpy, which is my biggest fear.
You sound amazing. Well, I have a fan question for some of the filmmakers. Since the moment the trailer was released, fans have been buzzing about many of the changes for this film. This question comes from Josh in Cincinnati. So now the S stands for Superman and the trunks are back. What made you decide to go those directions? And without getting into any spoilers, what else might the fans expect?
Well, I mean, based on that, we wanted to do, you know, I wasn't tied down to doing the New 52 like the other movies before us were. So I just wanted to go back to the original Superman context, and there was nothing beyond that. And the S means Superman is kind of what we always assumed it means.
I mean, has anybody thought that it could mean small, as small, medium, large? He just happens to wear a giant tag on the front, you know.
Yeah.
Again, just, you know, fan question here.
Yeah.
Well, also the underwear bit. The underwear is back because in animation, it holds up. Literally, you can, you know, it works. But in live action, yeah, obviously it might look a little bit hokey, but it looked great in 1978. So what's the problem, you know?
I actually always liked the underwear.
Yep.
When, you know, I understood the reasoning for switching it up and changing it up because of modernity and so on and so forth like that. But I always thought it was just a cool aspect of the costume that made him unique. And then to see the other heroes, it kind of tags it to a particular historical point and always carries that origin with it. So I always loved the underwear where it was.
All right. So this is a question for everybody. What is your favorite scene in the movie and why?
Well, there's a scene where Clark and his mother meet back at Smallville at their house, and she hands him a box which reveals his new costume. So she basically hands him the Superman costume.
Well, that's my favorite scene too, and it is. I'm stealing your answer. No, I think it's a great scene. It was really well executed. It's, you know, his mom giving him advice, and which is such a, you know, Clark thing. He's going to his mom, and he's struggling in that moment. He's struggling with his identity and how much, you know, he embraces his identity publicly.
Also, there's an Easter egg in that scene, so watch for it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I like a scene where Perry White sets up Lois in introducing her to the rest of the Daily Planet staff. He's basically setting her up that everyone will hate her now, and he's getting such a kick out of it. And it's horrible, but it's so funny.
My favorite things, I know I mentioned earlier, and I feel a bit guilty about it because I hope people can enjoy it, but you know, how I was a bit tentative about voicing Superman because, again, I know my voice, and I just, there's a disparity in my mind of what it was, and I really latched on to this idea of him being this, you know, young kid. Tim mentioned something really, really great earlier about that moment in your early 20s when you're kind of playing at being an adult. And I've never really seen that in any Superman story before. It is kind of just funny to see the great Kal-El, like, get coffee. That is just a gag that sort of just tickles me because it's just such a funny imbalance to this character that we know is such an invincible sort of gargantuan character. So any of that stuff, I think it was when he's FaceTiming his parents, I kind of giggled because even Superman has to try and hang up on his parents when he doesn't want to talk to them. Yeah, okay, love you, bye, I gotta go. That's sort of just a very endearing trope that all of us know and love. And seeing Superman go through that, I thought was pretty adorable. On the flip side of that, seeing the more classic aspects of Superman, getting to say the words, "Are you all right, Miss Lane?" Gave me goosebumps in the booth. That was pretty cool because that's a scene that we all know and love from the great love story that is Lois Lane and Superman. So getting to say that was pretty cool, especially given the context of what the scene was.
I think my favorite scene is when John and Superman actually finally come and sit down at the table. I think that conversation about Lobo being the old man and Superman being the future man, you know, you hear these two titans who have all this power and the ability to come together and actually work their problems out and find out that they're on the same side. I thought was just a really endearing moment. I love that one.
Great. Take my answer, okay? No, that's cool. Cool. Don't worry about it. That actually is what I was going to say. I was going to say that, well, there's a couple of favorite moments that I have, particularly the ones with Parasite. However, there's so many smaller moments in there that are super, super funny. And I think the one that sticks out the most is when EK, playing Martian Manhunter, is sitting down. They're both drinking tea, a reference to, both them drinking coffee earlier, Parasite and Clark Kent. And he talks about his ideas of the Martians. And he's just got this one-liner where he's, those movies are terrible.
Yeah.
And then cut. Fantastic.
I really like the idea that Martian Manhunter goes to the movies. That makes me really happy. I just like that he goes to the Cineplex. One for Independence Day, please. He's just sitting there going, I don't like it.
This is all wrong.
But he's talking more about when he arrived here in the 50s, like 1955, and all the movies were those B movies.
Right, yeah.
That's what he's going by.
Well, I love that beat because it just is so immediately reductive, too. It's like, that movie, those movies which have such a formative effect on Clark, in one line, Martian Manhunter completely dismisses them. And I think that's part of Clark's journey, is sort of being able to put that behind him,
Well, let's take a look at exactly what Darren's talking about. Here he is in a scene with the wonderful Alexandria Daddario.
Are you all right, Miss Lane?
I think so.
Paramedics are on their way. But I have to go after him.
Superman?
You're right about my origins, Lois. But not my intentions. Please don't run your story. I should be the one to tell the world.
First, you have to save it.
Okay, well, there's a tradition after the premiere of that year's summer movie that Warner Brothers Home Entertainment announces its DC Universe movie slate for the following year. So here goes. Warner Brothers Animation, DC, and Warner Brothers Home Entertainment have quite the lineup for you fans in 2021. There will be 4 films coming out, 2 originals, and a 2-parter based on an iconic DC story. We have, from executive producer Bruce Timm, comes Batman, Soul of the Dragon, as the first film of 2021. Justice Society World War II is another original coming in spring 2021. And I'm not allowed to give details, but you might just hear a familiar voice in that film. Don't know who it is. And then this summer and fall, we'll see a 2-part movie release of DC's famed tale, Batman Long Halloween. Expect more details as we get closer to those releases. Well, congratulations to all of you on a fantastic movie, and thank you so much for being here. Darren, nice to see you as always. Nice to meet the rest of you in person, and thank you for being here today. And thank you to the audience. Just remember, Superman, Man of Tomorrow, available now on digital and then on 4K Ultra HD Combo Pack, Blu-ray Combo Pack, and DVD starting September 8th. That's all for now. Until next time, we're wishing you and all your loved ones health, safety, and all the best. Take care.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.